This weekend, Politico released audio from a Democratic National Committee leadership call exposing simmering tensions at the party's highest levels. Dr. Carter, what exactly happened on that call, and why has it caused such a stir?
The leak featured DNC chair Ken Martin expressing deep frustration, even questioning his role due to infighting. The emotional tone and candid admissions shocked many, revealing a party grappling with internal divisions at a particularly sensitive moment.
Martin's remarks were unusually raw for a leader, almost a public airing of doubts. How does this compare to past DNC leaks or leadership disputes?
While internal strife isn't new, the public nature of this leak is significant. Previous leaks, such as the 2016 email scandal, damaged party trust. This time, the raw emotion and leadership uncertainty may impact the DNC's image as it heads into an election cycle.
Let's unpack the factions at play. David Hogg, the controversial vice chair, has advocated for primary challenges in safe Democratic seats, ruffling feathers among party veterans. What's driving this intra-party conflict?
Younger progressives like Hogg prioritize ideological purity and activism over tradition. In contrast, establishment figures often emphasize unity and experience. This generational and strategic rift is exacerbated by today's high-stakes political climate, making compromise elusive.
So, it's not just policy, but a clash of political cultures change agents versus custodians of tradition?
Exactly. It's reminiscent of similar divides in the UK Labour Party or within the GOP's Tea Party era. Data shows that parties with unresolved internal conflicts often struggle to mobilize voters, especially younger demographics seeking authentic change.
Suspicion has swirled around who leaked this call, with some pointing at Hogg himself. He's denied it's sort off by sharing screenshots of unanswered texts from the reporter. How credible are these denials, and what's at stake?
The denial was tepid, which fuels speculation. DNC Vice Chair Michael Capp even accused Hogg of fabricating evidence. If Hogg was behind the leak, it would be a breach of trust, potentially violating party rules or even legal boundaries concerning call recordings.
Leaks can be both whistleblowing and sabotage. What are the risks when party leaders can't trust each other behind closed doors?
It erodes collaboration and invites paranoia. As seen in corporate scandals like Uber's 2017 boardroom leaks, such distrust often leads to talent flight and public cynicism, undermining the organization's core mission.
Ken Martin's reaction was uncharacteristically emotional, even doubting his own desire to lead. Given his long history with working-class organizing, why is this moment hitting him so hard?
Martin likely expected consensus building, not existential chaos. When leadership feels undermined from within, it can trigger imposter syndrome. Harvard Business Review reports that 54% of executives question their competence after public setbacks, which can paralyze decision-making.
Is this a unique challenge for Democratic leadership, or do we see similar struggles across political parties?
It's universal. Even Elon Musk, despite being an outsider, has faced leadership crises and internal rebellion at Twitter. The difference is public perception Democrats are often criticized for airing grievances, while Republicans tend to frame disputes as strength.
David Hogg's supporters argue that his outspokenness resonates with younger voters, many of whom feel alienated by party establishments. How significant is generational turnover in shaping party identity?
Pew Research shows millennials and Gen Z now make up over 40% of the Democratic base. Their appetite for authenticity and directness is strong. When leaders like Hogg challenge norms, it can invigorate the party, but risk splintering coalitions if not managed carefully.
Is there data on how such generational divides impact election outcomes?
Absolutely. In 2020, youth turnout surged when candidates adopted bold, unfiltered messaging. Yet, excessive infighting can depress turnout. A 2017 study found a 7% drop in youth participation following high-profile intra-party disputes.
A separate protest has arisen over gender representation, with claims the vice chair election didn't ensure proper diversity. How does the party balance demographic inclusivity with meritocracy?
Balancing diversity mandates with open competition is a perennial challenge. The DNC's own rules require gender parity, reflecting broader social pressures. However, when diversity efforts appear to override electoral outcomes, it can alienate key groups, especially young male voters, as seen in this case.
Could this controversy set a precedent for future leadership selections?
It's likely. If the DNC revises its bylaws or voting weights now, it signals that process can trump results, risking backlash. But inaction could reinforce perceptions of exclusion among underrepresented groups, a dilemma parties worldwide grapple with.
Media reaction has ranged from calling the leak devastating to downplaying it as routine political drama. How do such narratives shape public trust in party institutions?
Media framing is crucial. When coverage amplifies conflict, it can create a crisis of confidence among voters. A 2022 Gallup poll found trust in political parties drops by 15% after major negative coverage, even if the underlying issues are minor or typical.
Is there a risk of reinforcing negative stereotypes like Democrats as crybabies versus Republicans as fighters through selective reporting?
Absolutely. These narratives become self-fulfilling. If Democrats are seen as ineffective or divided, it can suppress enthusiasm. Meanwhile, portraying Republicans as combative may energize their base. Media literacy among voters is critical to counteract this effect.
Some argue that Republicans manage internal conflict more strategically, often centering disputes around policy bills, while Democrats are criticized for personal drama. Is this a fair comparison?
There's some truth to it. Republican disputes often revolve around legislative outcomes. Think of the Freedom Caucus and budget battles. Democrats, by contrast, sometimes get mired in process arguments. However, both parties have had public leadership breakdowns, such as Boehner's resignation in 2015.
What lessons might Democrats learn from the GOP in channeling internal strife productively?
Focusing conflict on policy rather than personalities helps maintain public legitimacy. Structured debates, clear goals, and visible progress amid disagreement can reassure voters that the party is moving forward, not just squabbling.
With the DNC set to vote on vice chair leadership and calls for new elections, what are the likely short and long-term impacts on party cohesion?
In the short term, uncertainty may deepen factions. But party renewal often follows periods of turmoil. After the 1968 DNC chaos, the party overhauled its primary system, leading to greater transparency and openness. The risk is alienating activists or moderates if the process is perceived as unfair.
Could this be a turning point for the party, or merely another cycle of discord?
It depends on leadership responses. If the DNC leverages this moment to clarify values and processes, it could emerge stronger. But if infighting persists without resolution, history suggests voter enthusiasm and turnout may decline in critical races.
As we wrap up, what leadership lessons emerged from this DNC episode, and how might they apply beyond politics?
Transparency, resilience, and adaptability are key. Effective leaders anticipate conflict and frame it as an opportunity for growth, not just a threat. In business, sports, or nonprofits, those who weather storms by uniting disparate voices often drive meaningful innovation.
So even the most publicized setbacks can lay the groundwork for transformation?
Precisely. Whether in politics or any organization, embracing discomfort and learning from discord can catalyze the evolution needed to stay relevant and effective in changing times.